unite. It's time to war, to fight against the puppet masters pulling strings. We'll strip away the power, hear our piercing scream. Yeah, we won't be silenced anymore. We break free from the chains that they adore. Stand tall, Unrig in the game we rise. We'll bring reality from their lies. Unrig the game, unleash the fury.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Unveiling. Welcome to Unrig the Game. How you guys doing this evening? A little bit of a rough start there. Hope you guys are all doing and living well. What's up, everybody? Look at all the people in the house. First, let me thank all those Winner Circle reoccurring memberships, all the people who donate to the channel and help keep it running. And in exchange, I make sure that you have a super chat waiting for you every month that you can use at any time. Thank you guys so much for helping the channel out and keeping it going. I appreciate it. All right. This is the kickoff show. Tonight we'll be reading chapter 5 of Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy called the ESG bubble. That's, the ESG comes from the UN and WEF. It's sustainability goals, whatnot. So we'll be looking at those. That'll be what the chapter is we're reading tonight. Read that exclusively on Rumble and X. And how is everybody doing out there? Here on the kickoff show, we are on the kickoff show here on YouTube. We will be talking about the mysterious Project 2025, the new establishment talking point that they're using to breed fear into people about if they dare to step outside the establishment narrative and the establishment candidate and vote for their own freedom. Yeah. So yeah, the scary Project 2025 is going to put Black people back in chains. It's going to do all kinds of nasty things that we're going to find out if that's real or not, of course, as we get to the bottom of what reality truly is in this day and age, where it seems like everybody's got something going on to try to get us out of reality. We're going to keep making sure that we stay within reality so that we can win it and unrig this game that we're in. All right. Thank everybody out there in the crowd. My VIPs. This is Wolfram dropping links. Thank you so much, Wolfram. Wipes his paws, lips in the house. And I do want to say thank you to my Rumble supporters, my recurring memberships over on Rumble. That Wolfram and Shelly both are part of that. And I do appreciate that so much, you guys. Rumble's an important platform. We want to make sure that that platform continues to grow and can compete with YouTube. And give YouTube a real run for its money as the go-to platform, at least for the base crowd, right? Like us. And Shelly and Wolfram are supporting me over there. I appreciate it. If you're on Rumble, please make sure you hit follow. Let's just support everybody that's worth it. Hit thumbs up. Let's make sure that we keep growing over there. We're on our way to reach our goal this year, and we're doing really good on X. We're up to 420 on X. Which in another life that would have been true too. But that's been growing really good lately. So I guess I've made the right friends. It's growing steadily. It's not going viral or anything, but it's growing steadily, and that's all we can ask for. So thank you so much for everybody that is watching and following me on X. I do appreciate it. There is Daisy Girl Williams. How you doing, Daisy? Hope you're doing well out there. And yeah, we got lots of stuff to talk about tonight. I think you're going to find this stuff really interesting. We're going to get into some other topics besides Project 2025 as time allows. We got kind of a shorter chapter tonight, so I'll probably do a little bit longer of a kickoff show, and I'll have some content after we read additional topics and whatnot. There's lots to talk about. And let's see who else we got. Grimm's Bar. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Hey guys, make sure you subscribe to Grimm's Bar for the latest and greatest real music. He puts it together himself. He does it himself. And so if you want some really great music, go check out the Rims Bar. All right, look, there's Suzanne from the Great White North. Suzanne, there she is. Hello, Suzanne. Hello. How are you doing today? Man, you would have loved the movie last night. Well, at least Spooky and the Bandit Part 2 when Buford T. Justice, his brother from Canada, came down with the Mounties. That was hilarious. Technically, that would have been an invading army, but there you go. Thank you for that, Wolf. Make sure you do. YouTube is just draining subs. And I was telling Shelly before the show, I was like, man, it's just like I've been fighting for the same 20 subscribers, it seems like, for a year or more now. It's just I go up, I go down, I go up, I go down. I keep trying to break through that ceiling. And as soon as I get a record number of subscribers on YouTube, they start draining them off. That's just because I'm not able to reach, right? And we're talking about like what is able to reach on YouTube and all that. And obviously I'm not sensational enough. I really just focus on the truth, and the truth, while it should be popular, isn't that popular on platforms, digital platforms. I don't, people like sensation, like emotion, and like drama. And it's really hard to kind of break that conditioning. So that's why platforms like Rumble are important, because Rumble doesn't have a history, right? Rumble doesn't have a set mode. And I find that people on Rumble are very interested in the content and not so much the sensationalism or the drama or anything like that. In fact, they avoid drama at all, and just do nothing shows, shows where people are just sitting around talking, basically just saying, hey, here's a place to hang out. We don't talk about anything important. We don't have good takes on things. But if you just want to sit around and watch a bunch of people talk like they're on Discord, that doesn't go over too well. It goes over really well on YouTube, but doesn't go over really well on Rumble. They're a lot more serious over there. That's kind of what we need, right? That's kind of what we need. We need a platform where people take life seriously and realize that there is some peril going on in the world right now. And if we want to have a future, we want to keep this country and the Constitution and our freedoms and not end up like the rest of the world, we better fight to keep it, and we better be on our toes to defend it. And a lot of people don't seem to get that these days, but we try to do something else about that. Let's see. Okay, making sure I'm just broadcasting on every platform. I had a little trouble starting. It gave me a couple of restarts. Like you try to start the car, and the car it won't quite roll over. That was like trying to get the stream started tonight. For some reason, I don't know what it was, but hopefully everything is coming through crystal clear, and we are on all platforms. Let me just make sure that we're on X. How you guys doing out there today? It is a Monday. There we go. All right. And the beginning of the week, exciting week. Hey, guess what? Thursday this week is going to be a big politics night. Biden's doing something, and Trump is supposed to announce his VP this week. So be looking for a winning 2024 show to pop up Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And that may mean that I don't do an unveiling this week. We'll see. I'm trying to keep it to 4 shows a week. So either an unveiling or a winning 2024. I may do both. You guys know I may just decide to do both. So keep an eye out for that, because it should be a very exciting week as far as that's concerned. Did I not put that in there already? Okay, I guess I didn't. Put this over here. Put this over here. Thought I already saved that. Oh yeah, that's right. I overwrote it. So let me get these full stream links out into the live chat here. It's there we go. And it's out there, and it's pinned, and it is saved in the okay. Oh, I didn't do this either. Let me turn that on. Ooh. Okay, now subscribers only in the chat. So you think it's going to be banned for the? I don't think so. Honestly, don't. I think he's a swerve. I think Tulsi was a swerve. I think Rubio was a swerve. I think it's between Burgum and Vivek Ramaswamy, and I'm still leaning into. I still want Vivek to get it. I know people have their ideas about that as well, but it's just that I'm pure strategy, guys. Like, well, honestly, I know it can seem like I'm really on board with one thing or another. I'm pure strategy, man. Because I'm looking at this like we have to take our country back from the corruption and from the corrupt establishment that controls it, the establishment power. Like, and there are steps that have to be taken and things that have to be addressed in order to do that. And so I'm always strategy. I'm always strategy. I think Vivek will keep the ideas in front of him. He'll be trained up and get that VP position to be looked at as the next legitimate candidate for president from that side. He can push back and he can talk and debate with the best of them without kind of going the extra mile that Trump does, or Trump is the right guy for right now, in a sense that we need somebody that can kick down the door, that'll push back in a fierce way. I don't care what people's ideal George Washington archetype president is in their mind. That is not the times we live in right now. Well, I hope that we get back to those times where that's the kind of president that would be effective and would be ideal, like a Ron Paul type. But we're not there. We're in the middle of a war for our country. It's a real war. It's not it's not tanks and trenches and bombs and planes, right? We don't want it to get to that point, but it is a real war that's going on for our country. With not holding that back at all. It's just a more cerebral, more subversive war that we have to be on our toes to resist and push back on. Because meanwhile, while we're talking about all these things we talk about, and we get distracted by our own new media that puts out sensational headlines equivalent to that of the establishment, just switch the characters around and you got pretty much the same shit going on nowadays. Talk a little bit about that coming up. While we have that going on, we're still have this parallel construction going on in our society, which is going to be one of the topics tonight. I tell you what, as this book goes along, it's really ramping up. The first 4 chapters are a lot of foundation work, a lot of background information. But I was like, let me read you some of the titles for the upcoming chapters. Tonight we're reading the ESG bubble, which is going to deal with, the sustainability goals for the UN, right? And I guess he's going to talk about how there's a limited time on that. Chapter 6 and chapter 7 will be next week. That's an arranged marriage and a henchman of the woke industrial complex. So I wouldn't look too much because he's Indian into the arranged marriage. He may draw some comparisons, but I think that's an arranged marriage between the globalists and our private industry. See, we can do all the politicking and government work we could possibly get our hands on, say everything goes our way. We still have to deal with the private sector. We still have to deal with the cultural war. These are things that are in our hands, right? And no amount of government is going to be able to undo the damage that's been done by this so far, as we're trying to race to catch up with our enemy, right? So those are some of the topics for next week. Then you got chapter 8, which will be a week after that, when dictators become stakeholders. See, that's very relative. We talk about stakeholder capitalism a lot in this book, and how that's part of the parallel construction that's going up around us as we debate about whether Biden pooped his pants or not. And really great stuff by us, by the way, our side. To be proud of that. I'm being sarcastic in case you can't tell. But this is one of those things, like they're slowly changing things around us while we don't notice it. The slow boiling frog effect, right? It can happen to us too. We're all human beings with the same exploits, right? In our minds, the same weaknesses, the same tendencies, the same psychology works on all of us. And so to think that just because we're outside the establishment narrative that we can't fall for the same trickery, it would be naive and overconfident on our parts. We always have to be revetting and making sure that we are on the right page and we're in the right direction. It maybe seem fun and to joke around or just to check out and let someone else do the work for you. But the truth of the matter is it's at your own peril, right? We need to stay vigilant. That's what we do here in the base crowd. That's what we do. So chapter 9 is a big chapter. That's going to call the Silicon Leviathan. That's Silicon Valley, of course. I think that's pretty obvious right there what that's going to be about. And the following weeks, wokeness is like a religion. Actually, wokeness is literally a religion. Those are 2 chapters. Critical diversity theory. chapter 12. Chapter 13, woke consumerism and the big sort. Chapter 14, the bastardization of service. And chapter 15, who are we? That seems like that's the last chapter. A big wrap up about, let's take this deep question into consideration. Who are we? Who do we want to be? Right. That's the other question that comes along with that. So yeah, a lot of exciting chapters coming up. It was kind of I would call it kind of a slow start in the book, though I know a lot of people are getting a lot out of it. To me, it was a little bit of a slow start. But I feel like here at chapter 5 and going forward, it's going to be like, boom, 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 boom. So hopefully that works out. Hopefully that's the way it is. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. But now I want to get into Project 2025. But first, I'm going back out to the chat because I had a lot to say there. I had to take my eyes off it for a second. So let me go back. And yeah, thank you for posting that, guys. Subscribe to Outpost Nerd. He does nerdy stuff over there. He does, pop culture analysis on, Star Wars and other things. Check them out. I trust that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Vance. I think that he didn't have the experience and he's just come out of nowhere. He needs to, again, I said the same thing about Vivek. That's why I want Vivek to have a role, but Vivek's been around a little bit longer than him, I think. Anyways, Vivek's way more impressive, like when you hear him speak, and he just seems to be on top of it. I think there's something special about that guy, and that if anything, he's going to be a key resource in the future. Let's see. Gribbs Bar, Federal Reserve stress test for a 40% drop in the commercial real estate market, only included in 12 largest banks. This is going to be really bad. Yeah, there's always that looming fear that because they control everything right now, and especially the currency and our economy, that anytime they just can't do anything with us anymore. We've pushed too far. We've screwed up their plans too much. They can just drop the economic bomb on us, right? They can devalue the currency, send us into hyperinflation. This has been a fear that I've had since the Ron Paul days. The dollar collapse. Ron Paul talked about the dollar collapse. I'm glad it hasn't happened. I think that it could actually end up hurting the wealthy as well, that may want to do that as a form of punishment, but they would have to have something else in place ready to just springboard over to it. And they're getting closer to that point with like the digital bank, the federal digital bank currency. Hold on, the central bank digital currency. Thank you. That right there could be their big jumping point. So if they have that in place, that could secure their money in other ways. They may be able just to crash our dollar and send us into the worst thing we've ever seen. Honestly, the worst thing we've ever seen. You look too much into the dollar collapse, you'll get scared. You'll get real scared. It's a scary thing to imagine your money being worth nothing. Therefore, the things you have being worth nothing. And then no food rolling in, no medications rolling in, no supplies rolling in. And suddenly all the people that you're friends with in your neighborhood are going to try to eat you. It's like, it's not a good sign. We don't want a dollar collapse ever, ever, ever. Yeah, take a second, make sure you got the live chat on. Thank you, Wolfram. Let's see. The office of VP may be too regulated for what Vivek is good at. Making him VP may actually tie his hands and limit his effectiveness. Depends on what you want him to do, right? I don't expect him to go in there and be a solution architect and get a bunch of things done as a VP. I expect him to be a good backup to Trump, to talk to him about what matters, to keep him on, to be his top advisor, to keep him on point, and then to secure any. Well, I mean, he won't ever have to worry about 2020 as a VP, but to make sure that he has somebody in there that is a little bit more sophisticated and modern and in the modern realm, I think, and is going to be relatable to the next election. Like I said, I think next election it's going to be we need young blood, so we have to have a young guy to go out against whoever they're going to throw. Maybe Newsom or whatever. They got a really weak pool to pick from. However, and some discussions I was having, I don't think recently, I don't think they care. Like, I think that with Biden and puppet mastery and all that stuff like that they realize they could put a ham sandwich up there and if it has a D on it and it's not Trump, then people are on the other side are going to blindly vote for it, like mind control victims. And they're going to they're just going to run it from behind the scenes like they always do. I mean, I think that's pretty much been the way it's always been, and we've just forgotten. Like, I don't think, I think they've always, maybe the Clintons really drove it and the Bushes really drove it because they were kind of like little underneath top of the pyramid. They've been around a long established. That worked during that time. The false left right paradigm's been dismantled for the most part right now, at least at the presidential level. And I mean, and there's still people in their minds who believe it's Democrat, Republican. It's like, I just don't get it. I know those are the part, as far as the election goes, those are the parties we have to vote, you have to pick from, right? But that there isn't like before Trump, right? As Ron Paul was pointing out, as we were trying to get people to become aware of that the game was rigged because they owned both sides, right? So they were just pushing their agenda forward at will for generations, right? So now that we've done something about it, people still want to look at it as left and right. And it's really not left and right. It's really establishment versus everybody. And if you're aware of it and you're resisting it, you're part of the anti-establishment, right? But if you're just a victim, a useful idiot, or a victim of it, you're going along with it. Maybe you're scared, maybe you don't care, maybe you think someone else is going to do it for you, right? And you're just going along with it. You're under you're supporting the establishment, and you're doing nothing but helping enable their agenda. So I know we can all have our opinions on this. I will wait and see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be ultimately Trump's decision, and he can maybe he does need Vivek in a more active role doing stuff. I just see him as a guy who probably want to run in 2028, and he needs to have that high elevated status of the vice president or something up along those lines to make up for, it's like a governorship or senatorship or whatever. Kind of kicks him up the ladder a little bit faster. And I believe he's going to be the one to win the debates and to hit the main talking points and to be persuasive in his speaking. He's really good at making people realize the fallacies in their own arguments before actually just laying out a new way to go. He's really good at that. So anyways, anyone remember growing up, teachers saying they planned planned economies were communism and doomed to fail. Meanwhile, we live in a planned economy. Well, I mean, they said that without the understanding of what the central bank, the Federal Reserve is. I mean, they taught all kinds of things thinking that was a federal institution. I mean, what until like 10, 15, let's see, 2007-ish, that people, let's say 2007-ish, right? So maybe somewhere in between 20, 15 years ago, that people started actually talking about the fact the Federal Reserve isn't federal. It's a private bank. So a lot of people didn't know that. They grew up, teachers included, grew up believing that this was a part of the government, right? And actually, the Federal Reserve sits above the government in its own ways. And we're given the illusion that it's regulated and under control. But again, they don't have to be transparent, and they don't have to listen to anything. Where's the audit? Where's audit the Fed? Where's audit the Fed? Where's it at? Everybody forgot about that, right? That was supposed to happen. So they can memory hole anything. They're part of the establishment for sure. And hell, if they were ever to lose that, boy, they would be very upset. But let's get into Agenda 2025 here. Let's figure out what this thing is. Now, you guys heard this. Have you guys heard this? If you've heard of this already, let me know. But they've been bringing it up as a fear tactic. Do I have the fear tactic here? Hold on. I actually heard it in a church. That's why I'm doing some content research. Let me see if I can find it amongst everything else that I have. Well, they brought it up several times in several different interview type situations. A lot of the establishment media types are talking about Trump's going to bring in 2025, a project 2025, and that's going to be the end of it. Going to put black people back in chains. It's going to undo all this stuff. Basically saying that it's going to undo everything, right? Does Trump know what Project 2025 is? I don't think he does. Have you ever heard anybody talk about Project 2025? This came out new to me too. But they're leaning on this because they have a very dumbed down, very dependent base on what they say. So to form their opinions, they listen to their media and they say, okay, well now I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to think the way you told me to think. That Project 2025 is some kind of big monster waiting to bring in Nazi Germany again or something, right? So this is for you guys too. You will be able to take this information and push back on these conversations with anybody who brings up Project 2025, because we're going to debunk it right here. Bring in Tim Pool. He did a video on this today. I think he laid it out really good. I got some comments to go with it, of course, but he at least laid down the foundation for what this is. Now, the Heritage Foundation is the one that has this Project 2025 going on, right? So Project 2025 going on. The Heritage Foundation isn't the Trump campaign. Yeah, so here you go. So at least Outpost has heard of this. Trump said over and over again he doesn't know what Project 2025 is, and it's not part of his agenda in the slightest. Yeah, why would it be? But let's listen in and we'll comment here.
Project 2025, the Democrat boogeyman plan that Donald Trump claims he knows nothing about. And I got to be honest, Donald Trump probably knows very little about Project 2025, as it is a think tank document. It's coming from the Heritage Foundation. But what's really fascinating here is framing and where.
Now, you know, it's funny how they bring up Project 2025, but we never talk about Agenda 2030. We never talk about it. You know, I mean, Davos, I mean, okay, we've been through WEF. We know what the World Economic Forum, we know they have like one of the largest economies in the world as a NGO, right? As a non-governmental organization, globalist organization. They have, is that a new car model, right? But that's real. Like, you go to their website. If you don't believe me, go to the website. It's all laid out. Go to their YouTube page and listen to them speak at their yearly convention, Davos 2024 this year. So it's called Davos. They do it every year. And they lay out exactly what they're going to do, like for real. And then you can see that they're actually doing it, right? Every year they get progress reports, right? They actually did what they said they were going to do in Agenda 2021. Why everybody was screaming and trying to wave their hands, hey, look over here. Everybody, including all these other people who think they got it figured out that aren't part of the establishment, they didn't say anything about it. Well, it's not that big a deal. But it's the underlying architecture of what is to come, right? And it's being built up around us every day. You know, but we don't talk about it. We don't call out what they're doing. I don't get this part. But they'll come up with some kind of weird new thing that we're doing, and everybody will buy into it. Boogie, 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 boogie. New flying Jetsons car. Yeah, you know what? I got a whole list of new flying cars. We need to do that on a winning Saturday night. I'll go through the new flying cars and of the future. All right. Graham's like looking in Argentina.
Where we currently are in American politics. The Heritage Foundation head refers to the Second American Revolution. Kevin Roberts, president of the group that coordinated the Project 2025 policy plan, said it would remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. I will come right out and say reckless language.
Yeah, I agree. Where are you going, Daisy? Where are you going? You come back here right now. We need you to listen to this. Because I know that you get out there and you talk to a lot of people and you're going to tell them all about Project 2025 and how it's bullshit. Bloodless. If it's that, see, that's the kind of, that's why you don't align with groups like this, right? Because they can say things like that, and then you have to own it. So Trump is very smart and not making sure that he sticks to the plan that he has in his campaign and not including other things, right?
And should not have been iterated as such. I'll tell you why. That statement is basically telling the left to take action. No,
yep.
I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see as stable as an election as we could possibly have. I personally would like to see Donald Trump defeat Joe Biden. There are other people who I think would do a better job than Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is the best we have right now. And I give him a lot of credit for his work in foreign policy and the economy in the United States during his first term, though he's far from perfect. I think it's very silly that you get many people, especially libertarians, saying things like, we need a president who will do this, that, or otherwise. And it's like, guys, you'll never get a perfect president. You go for who can get you the net positives you want to see. And while there are going to be a lot of people that say, Tim, you're wrong, Trump was a net negative, many libertarians, I look to foreign policy and domestic economics. I look to areas where the president has real control, which is foreign policy and diplomacy. And I say, Trump did a lot of bad things, but overwhelmingly, it was a net positive. So I'll take it. The issue right now is that we are dealing with, let's just call it the shadow campaign of the 2024 election. You've got House Democrats in huge news fighting the GOP plan to require proof of citizenship to vote. How is that in any way shocking? Take a look at this.
Oh, yeah. And I got more on that, too. That's a hot topic for the day as well. Not just because of him pushing back on Project 2025, but that the speaker came out today and that the Biden administration had shot down a plan to make sure illegals couldn't vote in our next election. So I'm going to be following this whole thing up with that story as well. So stay tuned for that. You're gonna want to hear about this because literally they're gaslighting us with this when we caught them.
Axios reporting, House Democratic leadership bringing out the big guns against a Republican bill set to be voted on next week that would require proof of U.S. citizenship to vote in federal elections. Axios has learned. I just want to pause real quick and ask, why would Democrats fight this? There's no logical reason. I'll give you the excuses. They'll probably get, oh, it's a citizenship thing. It's an ID requirement, and poor people in this country can't get IDs. Don't know, don't care. I don't care. You don't got an ID, don't vote. That's just absolutely insane. Democrats rejecting this, of course, is a lot of people believing they're going to make attempts to get non-citizens to vote. And then they'll win. And they'll say, oh, look, the polling was wrong. Biden right now claiming
right.
The polling underestimated him in 2020. And it's underestimating him again, which is
underestimated how far they go to cheat. Right?
Factually not true. It overestimated him in 2020 and 2022. And I cite CNN as my source. But to the main story here at hand, Heritage Foundation head referring to the Second American Revolution, Project 2025. What is this? Why are Democrats freaking out? I think Project 2025 is interesting. It does outline a series of things that Trump has expressed he wants to do. But I love how the Biden camp is going hardcore on this 2025 thing, which it's a nonprofit. You know, I'm hanging out with family over the holidays and I hear, Project 2025 and here's what they're going to do. And I'm like, but what does that have to do with Trump? That's just the Heritage Foundation. That's like me coming out and being like, did you hear about Planned Parenthood's plan for Joe Biden's next term? Yeah, I'm sure they have plans and considerations. They're lobbying, all of that stuff. So what? They're saying a lot of these people in Project 2025 are associated with Trump's inner circle and things like that. Yeah, sure. The same is true for Biden and every other nonprofit. Okay, then. That's why they're attacking Project 2025 and saying this is the Trump policy. Blah, blah. No. It's what the Heritage Foundation wants Trump to do. And Trump may do some of it or none of it, but they're acting like this is Trump's plan. And that's the distinction.
Because they can use this on their low political IQ audience, right? The base to keep them in line. It's a fear. What else can we do? Let's bring this Project 2025. No one knows what that is. Let's bring that up and tell them that the world's going to end if that happens. Right? The same way they said that Trump would start World War III, that he's going to be a dictator, that he's going to be the end of democracy. What was a good saying I heard today? Oh, Biden's going to be the end of the constitutional republic. Push back on these guys with the same language, but the right language, because that is actually true. That is actually true.
That being said, I don't know that we overwhelmingly disagree with Project 2025 anyway. Why do Democrats? Well, let's read the story, and I'll stress this too. When I heard that Kevin Roberts said, bloodless if the left allows it to be. You need to understand what he's saying with that. Okay. What he's saying is, and I think what he truly means, if the left doesn't go insane and burn this country to the ground, we're going to win and have this dramatic change. But you need to understand what you are saying to them, not what you are trying to say. We had a guest on Timcast IRL who said something I can't repeat. And he was basically saying, if you're on the left and you really do think Trump is Hitler, well, and I'm like, no. Listen, you do not live in a vacuum. You are not just speaking to the people of your worldview. Understand what this means when you say Second American Revolution. Bloodless if the left allows it to be. If a leftist said that, to if Antifa stood up on a milk crate and yelled to Antifa, they are engaging in a Second American Revolution only if we allow it. That's a rallying cry to the far left to take violence.
It is. And it makes you wonder why it was put that way. Like, why it was put that way.
Action. And I think you can't say stuff like that. What we want to happen is we need Republican lawyers. We need libertarian lawyers. We need lawsuits and challenges on unconstitutional actions to counter the shadow campaign. We win with the ballots. Trump gets elected. You get a Republican Congress. And then we do things like secure the border and better trade agreements. These Democrats are saying like Trump's going to be a dictator. He wants to be one. He's claiming he's going to. No, he's not claiming he's going to be one. I just can't stand it. I'm watching the news and they're like, Trump says he wants to be a dictator on day one. On Fox News with Brett Baer. Brett say, that's not true. That's not true at all. If someone said to me, yeah, well, Trump says he wants to be a dictator on day one, I'm like, to drill oil? Is that what you're referring to? And like, no, well, he said he wanted to be a dictator so he could drill oil. I mean, come on. It's a turn of phrase. He's being somewhat facetious. He's saying he's going to go in and he's going to bring back Keystone. He's not talking about rounding people up. It's lies.
Yeah. Lies. Because they're gonna do what they do. This is their version of the cheap fake. They're going to soundbite it and juxtapose it so that it works for their agenda, right? And that's what we can't do either on our side, which is what some people have been doing on our side, including this guy right here, which I called out last week. But I'm not giving up on him because he does do decent work most of the time. He just needs a little bit of polish. There's other people out there that are a lot worse than him in terms of becoming what they fight. Like he's just barely doing it. But this is a good report nonetheless. And plus, he gives me a lot of points that I can push back on too and show you the deeper actually meaning of things in terms of that. Let me see. Oh yeah, by the way, and I do have Venmo too. Venmo is like instant. So I think both of them are fine if you want to donate without donating through YouTube. Both of them are great. But yeah, the Venmo works too, by the way. We tested that out earlier today. It does work.
Okay. But it's the lies they use to rally their base, and it's unchallenged. What we want.
Yeah. Unchallenged to rally their base. Perfect. All right.
What we're going to get, I'll tell you what we're going to get. Ladies and gentlemen, if you vote for Donald Trump, the overwhelming likelihood of what you will get, it's not going to be Project 2025. Nope. Trump will fire some people. He'll hire some bad people. There will be some questionable foreign policy. The economy will generally improve. Our border security will generally improve. There will be some degree of deportation. It will not be this mass militarized campaign or whatever. Trump will probably not have any strong prosecutions against the far left or Democrats. You are going to be grumbling half the time, and you are going to be saying, well, I guess that's all right.
He's going by 2016. That's pretty much what it is. Looks like he's getting ready to go down on Ian right there. But that's pretty much, I can see where he's coming from. He's not going to get himself too excited about things. He's going to kind of take the middle of the road. And I think that's fine. But, and I don't think one term now that we've lost a term, in the progress we were making, is going to change to turn things around. This is again another building block. 4 years if we get it. If we don't get it, freaking, we're in trouble. So yeah, it probably is the most important election in our history right now. But but anyways, let's just continue.
Costs are going to go down, and you're going to say, I appreciate the peace attempts in Ukraine. That's about it. What can I say of Trump's first term? He hired bad people, got rid of TPP. USMCA was pretty good. Brought manufacturing back to certain states. Got reinvestment from these big corporations. It's good. No new wars. I like it. Withdraw time frame for our troops in the Middle East. Very good. And he hired people like Bolton. He commando raids in Yemen at the behest of Saudi Arabia. Missile strikes on Syria being praised by the corporate press. Trump hired some bad people. We all grumble about it. But it overwhelming, overall, it's like a 55, 60% positive. A lot of bad things, a little bit more good. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't voting for the lesser of two evils. I felt like I was voting for, let's just be honest, what's the appropriate way to say this for a family friend? We're trying to be family friendly, talking about the news. A crude man. Certainly a crude man. He's funny, but lacking a bit in the decorum. But overall, net positive. So I dig it. I don't care about the mean tweets. They're funny. Grow up. There's this really great restaurant nearby. It's a crab shack. And they have a sign on the wall saying, please let us know if anything here offends you. We could all use a good laugh. And I'm like, come on, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the attitude we need. Grow up. If somebody wants to wave a Biden flag, I don't care. If somebody wants to wave a Trump flag, I'm not going to cry about it. If City Hall wants to fly a pride flag, I'm going to say, I'm not a fan of religious symbols in public institutions. You want to do a rotation in the corner for various religions? Fine, but don't fly a flag for your religion.
Right.
On my City Hall. Don't do that.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Just that's a sign of we've been taken over anyways, right? That these flags are allowed to fly on public government buildings and state buildings. It's a sign of occupancy. Flags have meanings, right? Yes, you can fly a flag for support in your home. You can wear it on your shirt. You can put it on your car. That's all fine. But when you start imposing it on government buildings like that, they're supposed to represent the state or the nation. That's a takeover, right? That's a takeover. What do you think when ships got taken over by pirates? They'd raise the other flag, right? They take the flag down. When you claim a territory, you plant the flag. He's making good points. We should not have any of these bullshit flags on public property. That means that just state and federal. That's it. We need two flags. That's it.
But let's read the story from the New York Times, and then we'll talk about where we're currently at. Joe Biden has sent a letter to Democrats saying he will not back down. That's big news. But considering where we're going in this election and how
he won't, and he's not going to.
Democrats want non-citizens to vote. Second American Revolution sounds pretty worrying.
Yeah, but you know what? What do we have in place to stop that? Like, I want to show you guys where are we at. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this here. I don't think there was anything more in here I needed to go through. Let's see. Let's look at this.
Why is Steve Bannon in jail? And Merrick Garland is not.
There it is right there. See, Biden assails Project 2025, a plan to transform government, and Trump claims that he's unaware of it. He claims he is unaware of it. For the most part, I doubt he knows what it is.
In jail. I don't understand how there could be any sane person who can listen to a segment like this or pay attention to the news and they don't question this. We had a guy on Timcast IRL. We argued. He said, yeah, well, Bannon's tied to mobsters, so he deserves it. I'm like, so you're an authority.
Tied to mobsters. Which ones? Where? Who? The Gambinos? We're going to do like a series on mafias and whatnot. And you'll learn that these Italian mafias or whatever, that they don't have little to no power these days at all compared to what they used to be. So someone saying tied to mobsters, I think more like what, Democrat politicians?
Libertarian. You're a fascist. The idea that the government can simply say, we know you're a criminal, so we'll use any law we can to arrest you. Yeah, that's authoritarianism. That's not good. That's where we are. Merrick Garland defied a congressional subpoena, refused to turn over evidence on Joe Biden's conversation with a special prosecutor as to why he will not be prosecuted for crimes we know he committed. Merrick Garland was referred for criminal prosecution. The DOJ refused.
Yep.
And now they're pushing inherent contempt.
Yep.
But of course, we had the holiday over the weekend, so we'll see where we're at in just a little bit. We'll go over that in the next segment, probably. But ask yourself why Bannon goes to prison, why Navarro goes to prison. Because I don't know if Second American Revolution is the right way to describe it. We're in a civil war, some kind of civil war, cold civil war, or just civil strife, perhaps. Cold civil war.
Been in what? We've been in it our whole lives, man.
Course, probably better. But you know what I've said to everybody, because these leftists try to put clips.
Sorry about Hurricane Burrell. We tried to push it towards you, nerd, but it went to the Texas. I did a whole show about this, by the way. Just to let you know. I plan to transform government. Oh, like the left hasn't been doing that for years. Exactly, Wolfram. Exactly.
Clips of me and they lie. I'm like, when we have people come on this show, on Timcast IRL, I should say, and they're advocating for national divorce, I'm saying, no, that's what the communists want.
Yeah.
They want the country to break apart. They want to seize control of institutions, and they want you to encourage.
It was leaked today, but it's been out. That was the whole interview with the Tucker Carlson guy. Let me see. We have a link for nerd. Let's see. It's really recent. It was the one I did, Unveiling Reality. Right here. Deep State plans for 2024. Even if it was leaked today, I was ahead of the game. There you go. Enjoy.
Encourage it. If this country fractures in a national divorce, it will be torn to shreds. China will come in, Iran will come in, Russia will come in, varying interests, allying with various factions, and you will get international conflict. A civil war in the United States begets World War III internationally. Can't handle that. Don't want that. I want to be able to sit down in my $600 reclining massage chair. Believe it or not, yeah, they're actually not that expensive. I want to sit in my massage chair, put on the World Series of Poker, order some chicken wings, and dip them in ranch dressing. Doesn't that sound fun? But we are only able to have such comforts and luxuries for two big reasons. First, the men and women in uniform who are holding up the country. Don't get me wrong, the political establishment abuses these people every day. I don't agree with the foreign policy plans of most of these individuals, but it is true. It is the men and women in uniform who make our luxury possible with the petrodollar and our military base overseas, whether you like it or not. That's true. Now, I respect the people who've decided to serve this country tremendously. Next up is those on the front lines of the domestic policy disputes. These are the individuals like you who are paying attention to what's going on to know how to vote, when to rally, how to get people to sign up.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. This is going on. And I should sped that up a little bit. I want to make sure I got time for other things. I'm going to get to the reading within the hour, like 40 minutes to an hour for kickoff shows, usually what I want to do. And you can definitely spread this channel by using your favorite social media platforms. Definitely click share and share the stream. Thank you, Wolfram. But I wanted to show you some other stuff before we do that. I just pulled this up. There it is. Okay. I'm going to take this down here. Well, you know, I might come back to this later on, but not right now. He said enough. I get it. All right, so I want to show you this guy. This, you know, if you haven't heard of Project 2025, and maybe I should have started with this, but listen to this real quick.
Ongoing fallout from Joe Biden's concerning debate performance. Talk in many top Democratic circles has already moved to who Kamala Harris would choose as a running mate. That's how certain a widening group of leading party officials, operatives, and donors are that the president's slow start to salvage his campaign just isn't working. Harris's office updating her schedule yesterday to have her appear with the president for the 4th of July.
And we give thanks to our commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, the extraordinary president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, ho, ho.
Happy Independence Day.
He said ho, 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 like it's Christmas. That's such an old man thing to say. Ho 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 ho. God, I'm never gonna say that.
All right, guys, so we got to continue our coverage of the destruction of the Democrat Party, okay? Because that party is collapsing before our very eyes, and I am very happy to see it, okay?
Every
Because
year.
a lot of Democrats are concerned about what it
Well,
means in conservative Supreme Court justices send them back to
Right.
black women, which is acknowledging the reality, which is that they can't actually really replace Joe Biden with anybody except Kamala Harris, who already has the support of the black bourgeoisie and the liberal black pastors of America who
Sorry.
push liberalism and progressivism, things that are really anti-biblical in my opinion, on their congregation of mostly black women, which is what this pastor did when he basically started to preach the gospel of Kamala, making his argument that having Kamala Harris replace Joe Biden as president is the only way to save black people from
Listen to
having
this.
conservative Supreme Court justices send them back to slavery, put black people back in chains.
It's about the fact that they also know that if Joe Biden gets reelected in November, at his age and stage, he probably won't stay in the presidency for another 4 years. And if he doesn't, guess who emerges back to the seat of the presidency? Another African American, and this time it's a sister who went to Howard University, who's an AKA. Y'all may as well shout back at me in here. I need about 50 people to stand on your feet to say that's intelligence. You gotta read between the lines.
Good Lord. This guy thinks he's intelligent.
That's the greatest fear right here. Because if this happens, we can reclaim DEI. We can
Reclaim DEI. They want it.
reclaim critical race theory.
Reclaim critical race theory. They want it. It's a lie, but they want it.
And put our content back in textbooks to teach the truth about a racist history in
Put our content back in textbooks. It's not still there.
America. If this happens, we can
Yeah, we could make everybody. Look, the white people are the only friends you got. You better keep them.
we can reclaim the Supreme Court because right now they control the Supreme Court and they will put 2 more judges on it to make sure we go back to the plantation. I want to
You're on the plantation. It's called the Democratic Party.
ask who here wants to go back to the plantation? Tell somebody it's not time to go back.
When it's time.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. No, this disgraceful pastor here is essentially making the argument that Kamala Harris becoming president would be great for this country because it would allow the Democrats to push woke propaganda on children.
You saw what it said in the background, right? Please research Project 2025 all the way across the top.
In schools, including racial hate and division, which is what critical race theory is. This
There's
guy
no
seems to be
research.
celebrating that. But I wanted
Let's
this pastor
let him tell
know
him.
that a part of the woke agenda is also the pro-LGBTQ agenda that Democrats want to also push on children. I wonder if the pastor supports that, right? That is a question that I want to ask this pastor because that's certainly what Kamala Harris supports. Okay, I wonder, does this pastor support that? But anyways, you have Democrats who, are thinking about rallying around Kamala Harris.
You see a way for President.
Hold on real quick. Let's do this thing. Wolfram, thank you for the $5 super chat. Show us other stuff and other stuff I showed you. Indeed. Thank you for your support. I really do appreciate the $5 super chat. Wolfram, you rock the house.
President Biden, perhaps through these interviews or standing in front of a crowd of reporters without a teleprompter answering questions, do you see a way for him to regain the confidence of your party and its voters?
Well, Boris, there's not a lot of time, and that narrative is, pretty established now. It wasn't just one debate, and so it's going to be very difficult for this president to undo it. And I will say this, my colleague Jim Clyburn said something very important. If President Biden decides that in the interest of defeating Donald Trump and saving this democracy and the free world from everything
When they say saving democracy, they mean saving establishment power to tell everybody what to do. And we all know that they are a threat to the constitutional republic.
he represents, that he is ready to pass the torch. It needs to be, and I think should be, Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket. And I can imagine any.
Because he knows the base will vote for a ham sandwich or a potato, right? Potato sandwich, right? They don't care. They know other people are running the show behind the scenes. They want him to look like they want him to look, talk like they want him to talk. That's what they want in a president. They want their archetype and their bias confirmed and fulfilled, and so that they can feel like everything's going to be okay, right? So that's all it is. They know They know.
Any number of really compelling people that could round out a winning ticket with Vice President Harris, a ticket that would bring all kinds of enthusiasm and excitement to this race and put us in a position to win it.
Okay, and part of the reason why has to do with the polls from the liberal media seemingly showing that Kamala may have a better chance than Biden and anybody else that Democrats can put forward of beating Trump.
I think she's a talented woman and someone who should be in the mix. But
Okay, so they're running around trying to make it okay, right?
this is not a matter of just passing the mantle to her.
If Biden makes the decision to step aside, senior Democratic advisors tell CNN, he is expected to immediately throw his support behind Harris and ask delegates to do the same. Former presidents and party leaders will be asked to follow suit in hopes of avoiding a contentious fight. A more open race, advisors hope, would be for Harris's running mate, with a focus on leading Democratic governors. Harris
Jesus H.
is long taking a leading role in prosecuting the.
Okay, enough of that. But you see how they're out there on the streets trying to push this fear propaganda about Project 2025 out, and also prime people should they decide to should Joe Biden decide to step down. They are not going to replace him. Some people may say they're putting pressure on him. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, all these people that are putting pressure on him are going to get in line. They're going to get in line. They're going to be whipped back into line, and they're going to be forgetting all this stuff here in a short time. Believe that. Look at this. Literally running on Restore Row. It's all over the place. Roe absolutely took back and denounced the Roe versus Wade decision. We need to put that book out and really, really stomp on their whole campaign. But these people don't care. They don't care either. All these brainwashed individuals on stage here, they don't care. That's the problem, is we keep thinking like us when it comes to them. They don't think like us, right? They don't make logical conclusions, or they wouldn't be supporting Joe Biden or the Democrat Party, right? They listen. They hear what they're told to think and do, and then they do it. They're data processors. They're not free. They don't live free like us. All right. Couple more things on this topic, and then we're going to hop. In terms of this Project 2025 thing, right? We got to stop it. We got to stop it at all costs, because it's going to affect democracy for the establishment to tell everybody what to do for the rest of their lives. You have this out from Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. It should alarm every American citizen that the sitting president of the United States, who has opened our borders for over 9 million, 14 million illegals, just announced that he would veto our bill to prevent non-citizens from voting. All right. And so that's right here. Shelly, you will throw the X link out for the crowd to that. I'm not going to read all of it. In fact, I'm not going to read much of it. But the Voter Eligibility Act, it is basically, this is what his statement was. He says, a Biden statement, why it strongly opposes the safeguarding of American voters. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. It is a federal crime punishable by prison and fines. Yet nobody gets convicted of it. The alleged justification for this bill is based on easily disproven falsehoods. Name them. I could say something is an easily disproven falsehood, even if it isn't, if I don't give an example about it. Additionally, making a false claim of citizenship is unlawful. Voting in an election is punishable by removal from the United States and a permanent bar to admission. Well, you know what? That's a good way to get rid of a lot of illegals, isn't it? How are we going to prove it? How are we going to do it? The numbers, this is a war of attrition here. The numbers are overwhelming at this point. We'd have to take a work of attrition basically to undo all this. And it's going to take that kind of work. Maybe they'll create new jobs. You know, maybe there's some people in the crowd right now that need a job that would be interested in going and helping removing illegals from our country. This bill would do nothing to safeguard our elections. Oh, but it would. But anyways, but it would make it much easier and harder for all eligible Americans to register to vote and increase the risk that eligible voters are purged from the voter rolls. There's a lie. I mean, when they can just lie and exaggerate and use fallacies in their own statements and people buy into them. What are we doing here? It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote. It's in the Constitution. That's right. But the Safeguarding America Voter Eligibility Act isn't disputing the constitutionality of illegals voting in our elections. It's saying let's put measures in to prevent it because it's happening. Right? And what's not happening is people getting caught, getting arrested, and getting deported, and then having their being permanently barred from the country. And I think that you know, if we have a record of that, an ongoing I know you know. Active one, then maybe more people could feel comfortable about the Constitution being able to hold this up without support from other legislation. However, we know that we have a establishment of power that is subverting the Constitution, subverting it for their own benefit. That's all they've ever done ever since before we were born. They've been working on passing laws that subvert the Constitution and the authority of the Constitution. That's what they do. Hey, Ellie, how you doing? Ellie, we got a new saying for you. When they say that they are a threat, so they say that we're a threat to democracy. We say that they're a threat to the constitutional republic. There you go. That's for you. We thought about you when they came up with that one, or someone came up with that one. We heard it. We thought of you. All right. So that's basically what they push back on. Oh my God. Past to John R. Lewis. John R. Lewis from Georgia. He's an old fossil of a leftist that's still around. I don't know. I don't think he's still around. I thought he died, but Voting Right Advancement Act of the Freedom to Vote Act. So this is the opposite, right? They want us to go with their legislation, which is why he's going to cancel this legislation that would put in ways to help minimize the abuse of our electoral system by corrupt parties that use illegal voting. If the House Republicans really want to do something, secure our borders. And it doesn't secure our borders. It gives amnesty to 5,000 people a day. And it just is, it's just a mask basically for very low politically IQ people to buy into. And then anyways, you can read that, but there's a follow-up here because, you know, our side, there are people out there that do research and that, right there. Yes. That do research and do point out the fallacies in what they're saying. Thank God for people that are out there, staying on the ball and pushing back against BS. So Ned Ryan. There you go. Have I said that right, Ned? Because you did a good job here. I will run this out again. A form from Arizona's AHCCCS Medicaid office, very explicitly telling folks that if their citizenship status cannot be confirmed, no worries. We'll make sure to send you a federal-only ballot. Now, how many people in the crowd have heard of a federal-only ballot? It may be illegal to vote in states if you're not a citizen. But basically, they're telling you right here that they will send you a federal-only ballot, and that'll be okay. So as long as you vote for the president, that kind of goes with something we saw in 2020, doesn't it? The difference in down balloting. Why the federal election had so many more votes than the down ballot elections. Why was, you know, we got so many questions about 2020. It's such a mess. And that's another reason why we have to have, you know, the other party get in. We have to basically to kick the establishment out so we can get to the bottom of what happened. Of course, they're going to burn everything. They're going to hide everything. They're going to shred everything before we get there. But their arrogance will always do them. And we'll find a way to figure out what the hell they did. And for sure, put it on record. I think we pretty much know. But I'm sure there's things that we've missed or we haven't heard yet. Okay, so right here it says, if you do not submit proofs of citizenships, and we cannot acquire your proof of citizenship from the Arizona Motor Vehicle Division or the statewide voter registration database, you will receive a federal-only ballot, which has only federal races and no state, county, or local races or initiatives or referendums. They don't care about illegals voting in those. They care about illegals, making sure that they maintain their establishment of power by voting in the federal election. And there it is. This is one of those sneaky things they did in 2020 by changing the rules or by fabricating the rules in one case, and then having some kind of sneaky little state stuff going on here. And then there's a whole standing thing where you can't push back because you don't have standing because you're state, right? Even though it's a federal election. Same thing. What do you think is going to happen here? When the states try to push back, they go, you don't have standing. This is federal, right? You're not enough harm. This is countrywide. Everybody has to push back on this, or it's, boom. It doesn't count. You one state with all the people that were affected, you don't count. That's the way we were treated in 2020 when it came to disputing the bullshit that was obviously dripping from the walls. Anyways, there you have it. A couple different follow-ups on this. And so they're using Project 2025 as an example. One thing it says in there is about, securing the vote, right? Well, that's what a lot of people want. You don't have to be a part of Project 2025 or the Heritage Foundation to want to have high integrity, honest voting going on in your country, so that we can actually feel like we, we're not doomed, right? That's pretty much what it is. Okay. So that's the stuff I have up front for you. I could have gone a little bit longer and deeper on some of these things, I felt like. And what did that one lady say? They said that they were worried about LGBT rights. Oh my God. It's a disrespected and marginalized communities like the LGBTQ. Oh yeah, well, anyways, I'm gonna save this where LGBTQ activists literally call themselves out on the California bill that would make it a felony to purchase children for sex. A felony. They have to pass a bill in California to make it a felony to purchase children for sex. Think about that for a second. We're gonna do that on the follow-up here. This is the end of the kickoff show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here for the kickoff show. Now we're going to go exclusively to Rumble and X. For everybody who's been on Rumble and X waiting for the kickoff show to get to the book, thank you so much for being part of this. And the book will be starting here very shortly. Thank you to Wolfram for the super chat. Thank you to Wolfram and Jelly and everybody else for modding. I'm doing a great job. Thanks for everybody for being here. That's the regular crowd. You guys rock. We're gonna make it, man. We stick together. We got one place where we can all hang out and talk and talk about things in a real way, and not be pulled in by the bullshit on either side, right? Whatever that is. But certainly not on the establishment, from the establishment, but also keep our own side in check with the truth, and that's what we can do to help benefit the cause right now. It seems like that's the thing that is needed. I was talking to Shelly earlier about some of the content creators we like, but that they're just seem to keep falling into this hole of sensationalizing things, rushing stories out before they know what's going on, and really just trying to I don't know if they feel like they have to do this to survive or not, but to find a way to talk to these people, figure out a way for me to get an interview or an offline conversation or something with these people, so I can understand where they're coming from and what they're doing better. And and give them some feedback. Well, who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a guy with the channel, right? So were they. Judge Maddie, let's go. You got it right. Yeah, check out the Continuum live Sundays, midnight as Central Time. Maddie's mixtapes on Tuesdays. There we go. All kinds of cool stuff from Judge Maddie. Make sure you guys subscribe and check it out. And yeah, there's the schedule and the link right there. So make sure you check it out. But thank you guys so much for being here for the kickoff show. Keeps things rolling here on the YouTube side, where they're constantly draining my subs in there, keeping me from reaching a larger audience, We're going to beat them, though. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way to do it. We will. We're going to beat them. But for right now, guys, the links are in the description and the chat. Make sure to follow us over to Rumble for Chapter 5 of Woke Inc., the ESG bubble. And I'll see you over there. Rumble, later.
And everyone's tensed up.
YouTube, later.
And everyone's tensed up for a Rumble.